I always start my videos with a short intro, but today I'm skipping all that because the story I'm about to tell you isn't mine. This one was sent to me by a subscriber from West Virginia. His name is Daniel Harper, a quiet guy who doesn't comment on videos much, but watches every horror story I post. 3 weeks ago, Daniel emailed me something that sounded like a simple hiking story at first. But the more I read, the more I realized this wasn't just another ghost encounter. This was a war soldier's spirit, still guarding the land he died protecting. And Daniel swore every word of it is true. What you're about to hear happened last October, only a few miles from the real Droop Mountain battlefield, one of the bloodiest Civil War sites in West Virginia. Daniel said I could share this story with you, only if I promised to tell it exactly as he wrote it. So, here it is. Something followed me home from Droop Mountain, Daniel. I'm writing this because I don't know what else to do. I haven't slept well since that night, and I swear to God, something is still watching me. I live in Hillsboro, West Virginia. Quiet place. Mountains, deer, tourists in the fall. Nothing crazy. But last October, during the peak of the fall colors, I decided to visit Droop Mountain Battlefield State Park. If you've never been, it's peaceful during the day, but locals say it gets strange at night. People report gunshots with no source, marching footsteps, even voices yelling orders from deep inside the woods. I never believed any of that ghost stuff until now. The day it started, October 12th. Cool breeze, leaves everywhere, sky clear. I parked my truck near the lookout tower and decided to walk one of the lesser-known trails, the one that goes deeper than the usual tourist paths. The trail isn't marked on maps anymore, but old-timers still talk about it. They call it the Soldier's Road. According to legend, Confederate soldiers used that path to retreat during the battle. Many never made it out. Their bodies were found scattered along the trail. I didn't know that part until later. I walked maybe half a mile before the woods got quiet. Too quiet. No birds, no wind, nothing. Just the crunch of leaves under my boots. Then, I noticed something. It felt like someone was walking behind me. Not close, maybe 20 feet back. But every time I stopped, the sound behind me stopped too. I turned around. Nothing but trees. I kept walking, but the feeling got so strong that my skin actually prickled, like static, like the air was charged. Then I saw it. A figure standing far down the trail. At first I thought it was a hiker. Tall, broad shoulders, standing completely still. But he wasn't wearing clothes a normal person would wear. No modern jacket, no backpack, just a long gray coat. Dirty, torn, hanging off him like it had seen 100 winters. And a hat. One of those old Civil War slouch hats. "What the hell?" I whispered. The guy didn't move, didn't wave, didn't yell. Just stood there, staring. Even though I couldn't see his face clearly, I knew his eyes were locked on me. I took one step toward him. He vanished. Not walked away, not ducked behind a tree, just gone, like he dissolved into the air. The first whisper. I stood frozen for a minute, heart pounding. Then I heard it. A whisper, right behind my ear. Don't run. I spun around so fast I almost fell. No one there. But the whisper wasn't leaves or wind. It sounded like a man. Deep voice. Close. Too close. I started walking back toward my truck, faster now, trying not to panic. But the deeper I went, the more wrong everything felt. Every few seconds, I heard footsteps behind me. Not animals. Heavy. Boots. Marching boots. And they were getting closer. I kept telling myself, it's just your imagination, Daniel. Relax. Relax. But then the smell hit me. It came out of nowhere. A thick, choking smell. Like rotting leather, burnt fabric, and blood. Old blood. The kind of smell you can't fake. My stomach turned. My head felt light. I walked faster, but the footsteps got louder. Faster. Like someone was running right behind me. The soldier appears again. I reached a fork in the trail. Left goes back to the parking lot. Right goes deeper into the mountain. I didn't think. I just turned left. And that's when I saw him again. Standing on the path ahead of me. Closer this time. Much closer. His clothes were destroyed. Shredded. Like he'd crawled through thorns for miles. Mud smeared across his chest. One side of his body soaked dark, like with old dried blood. But it was his face. God. Half of it looked normal, but the other half, the right side was crushed in, like something slammed into his skull. His cheekbone was shattered. His eye, the right one, hung lower. His jaw looked dislocated. He wasn't whole. His left eye, the good one, stared at me like he was judging me. I froze. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. He raised one hand, slow, deliberate, and pointed behind me. I don't know why, but I turned. And the woods behind me weren't empty anymore. Dozens of faint shapes stood between the trees. More soldiers. Or what used to be soldiers. Not solid, not fully visible. Like shadows pressed into human form. Watching, waiting. I turned back toward the main soldier and he was right in front of me, less than an arm's length away. His breath hit my face, cold as winter. They never left, he whispered. And then everything went black. Waking up on the battlefield. I don't know how long I was out. When my eyes opened, I was lying on the ground near the old battlefield monument. That's a good half-mile from where I last remembered standing. My head hurt. My hands were trembling. It felt like the worst dream of my life. Except The dirt on my clothes, the scratches on my arms, the dead leaves stuck to my jacket. This wasn't a dream. I managed to get up and walk back to my truck. My body felt heavy, like I'd been dragged. I drove home in silence, shaking the whole way. But here's where everything went from scary to something I can't explain. He followed me home. That night around 2:30 a.m., I woke up to the sound of boots walking across my wooden floor. Slow, heavy, deliberate. Boot, pause, boot, pause. I sat up in bed, sweating. My bedroom door creaked open on its own. And in the hallway, a tall shadow. Same shape, same posture, same broad shoulders. He was standing outside my room. Just the silhouette, but I knew, I felt, it was him. The soldier. I couldn't move, couldn't speak. My throat felt squeezed shut. He stepped toward me, and the air turned freezing. He leaned close and whispered, softer this time, finish what we couldn't. Then he vanished again. Since that night, he appears every few nights, sometimes standing in my hallway, sometimes beside my bed. Once, in the reflection of my bathroom mirror. I don't know what he wants. I don't know what finish what we couldn't means. But I know this. He's not going away, and I'm scared he wants me to join them. To join him. Daniel's last line in the email. If something happens to me, tell people the soldier at Droop Mountain is real. I didn't tell anyone about the soldier for days. Who would believe me? A grown man haunted by a Civil War ghost? But things got worse. Much worse. 4 days after the battlefield incident, I woke up with long scratches on my left arm. Not like I scraped a branch, not random, not accidental. 3 perfect, parallel lines, deep, red, angry, like claw marks or fingernails. I swore I didn't do it myself. I sleep on my right side. Whatever did that, it wasn't me. And the scratches burned all day like they were fresh. I kept telling myself it was nothing. Stress, nightmares, whatever. But every night I'd wake up around 2:30 a.m., the same time I first heard the footsteps. The same damn time. Always that hour. And every night, the room would feel colder, breath visible, colder. On the 7th night, I finally gathered the courage to stay awake until 2:30 a.m., just to see, just to confirm I wasn't losing my mind. I sat on my couch, TV off, house silent. At 2:31 a.m., on the dot, boot steps, heavy, measured, coming from the kitchen. My entire body froze. The air changed instantly, like all the warmth was sucked out of the room. Boot, pause, boot, pause. Getting closer. I couldn't see anything in the dark, so I reached for the lamp. It turned on by itself before my hand touched it, and the footsteps stopped. Just stopped. But whatever was walking was still there, watching, breathing. The air around me felt thick, almost like I was underwater. Then, from the corner of my living room, he stepped forward. Not a shadow this time, not a silhouette. A full figure. Dirty gray coat, torn boots, hat tilted forward. Mud caked across his chest. And that face. God, that face. Same crushed jaw, same drooping right eye, same hollow cheekbone, sunk in like something shattered it from inside. But now I could see his mouth hanging slightly open, and every breath he took made a faint, wheezing sound. He wasn't looking at me. He was staring at the floor, like a soldier waiting for orders. Then, slowly, he raised his head. His good eye locked on mine. His lips barely moved, but I heard it, not aloud, but inside my head. Finish the march. My heart slammed into my ribs. What? I whispered. What march? He blinked, and suddenly, he was in my face. Not walking, not stepping, just instantly closer, inches away. His breath hit my skin, ice cold. Finish the march. I stumbled backward and fell over my coffee table. The lamp flickered violently. The entire house shook like something massive slammed into it. Then, silence. He was gone. The next morning I noticed something strange. My front door was open, not cracked, not unlocked. Wide. Open. The ground outside my porch showed a line of boot prints. Old-style boots. Worn soles. Heel plates like soldiers used during the Civil War. They led from my door, straight into the woods behind my house. Not randomly. A straight line. A march line. Exactly like he said. Finish the march. I shut the door and backed away slowly. But something inside me whispered, "Follow it." The same voice that told me not to run in the forest. The same voice I'd heard in my dreams that week. The same deep, commanding tone. A soldier's tone. Finish the march. I swear I didn't want to go, but I couldn't stop my legs. Like something was pulling me. The trail behind my house isn't scary. Kids ride bicycles there. Families go for walks. Nothing bad ever happens. But that morning it felt wrong. Dead quiet. No birds. No wind. The same silence as Droop Mountain. The prints continued deeper into the trees. Each one precise. Uniform. Measured distance between each step. Military perfect. Boot. 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 Leading me somewhere. I tried to turn back twice, but every time I did, I heard it. A faint voice behind me. not a whisper this time, more like a command, like how a captain talks to his soldiers. So I kept walking. The deeper I went, the colder the air became, and the smell returned. That same awful smell I felt at the battlefield. Burnt leather, blood, rotting fabric. I gagged, nearly threw up, but I kept going. Then, I reached a clearing I'd never seen before, a perfectly round patch of flat ground. And in the center, a wooden cross. Old, weathered, split down the middle, half sunk into the dirt. At the base of the cross, something metallic. I knelt and brushed the leaves aside. It was a small nameplate, dented, burnt, but still readable. Private J. M. Hawthorne, Confederate States Army. Died October 19, 1863. My chest tightened. My breath froze. My whole body went numb, because the soldier I saw, the one following me, the one whispering in my house, his uniform had a faded name stitched on the collar, a name I didn't recognize that day, but now I knew it. Hawthorne. I stood up quickly, heart slamming. Then the ground vibrated under my feet. Not an earthquake, not wind, a pattern. Thump, thump, thump. Marching feet all around me. Invisible soldiers circling the clearing. I spun around wildly. Their shadows flickered between the trees. Black shapes, tall, leaning forward like they were carrying rifles. Dozens of them. Hundreds. Surrounding me. And then he appeared. Private Hawthorne. Standing right beside the cross. Staring at me with that one good eye. His voice shook the trees. We never finished the march. The air exploded with sound. Gunshots, screams, orders shouted by commanders, cannons, rifles, men crying, men dying. The entire battlefield replayed around me, invisible but deafening. I dropped to my knees, hands over my ears. Stop! I screamed, but the sounds only grew louder, closer, more violent. Then everything went silent again. Hawthorne leaned forward, put his cold, dead hand on my shoulder, and whispered, "Tomorrow night, you walk with us." And he vanished. I ran home faster than I ever have in my life. When I reached the house, I slammed the door shut, locked everything, double-checked the windows. Then I went to the bathroom to wash my face. And I saw it, on my collarbone, pressed deep into my skin like a burn. A perfect soldier's insignia. Not drawn, not inked, burnt, branded. A small X shape. The mark Confederate scouts used on soldiers who died deep in enemy terrain. A death mark, a grave marker. I staggered back from the mirror, shaking. No, 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 no. But I couldn't deny it. Hawthorne marked me, branded me, claimed me. I wasn't just being haunted anymore. I was being recruited. In his email, Daniel ended this section with, "I think he chose me for a reason. And whatever happens next, I don't think he's done with me." Tomorrow is October 19th, the day Hawthorne died. He said I walk with them tomorrow night. I'm scared I might not survive it. Daniel's last email to me came at 8:17 p.m. on October 19th. His voice, his words, you could feel the fear between the lines. He knew that night was going to be different. He knew something was coming. He knew Hawthorne wasn't asking anymore. He was commanding. And soldiers obey commands, even dead ones. Daniel wrote, at 7:40 p.m., the cold started. Not normal cold, not AC cold, the kind that sinks into your bones and freezes the blood behind your ribs. I was eating dinner when the first gust hit. It was warm outside. Clear sky. No wind reported anywhere in Hillsborough. But inside my house, my breath turned white. That's when I knew. Tonight was the night. I grabbed my jacket and sat on the couch, shaking. Not because of the cold, but because of what Hawthorne told me. Tonight, you walk with us. I don't know why I didn't leave town, why I didn't call for help, why I didn't run. Maybe the brand on my collarbone had something to do with it, that burnt X that still throbbed like a fresh wound. Maybe the soldier's voice was already inside my head, pushing me, guiding me. Or maybe the march had already started. At 9:13 p.m., the footsteps began. It began with one heavy boot step in the hallway. Slow, methodical. Then two more. Then three. Then dozens. Marching boots. Inside the house. Coming from every room. Kitchen, living room, bathroom, bedroom. Marching toward me. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. The temperature dropped so fast that frost formed on my TV screen. Then, from the shadows of the hallway, they appeared, one by one. Men in shredded gray uniforms. Faces pale, eyes sunken, bodies broken, twisted, some missing parts, some dragging rifles, some holding nothing but shattered hands. 30, 40, maybe more, filling my house like it was still 1863. They didn't look like ghosts anymore. They looked solid, living, if living is still the right word. Their boots slammed the floorboards in unison. Thump, thump, thump. Suddenly they parted, like a line of soldiers making way for a superior. And he walked forward, Private J.M. Hawthorne, hat low, one eye dead, one eye burning with purpose. He stood in front of me, close enough that I smelled the rot in his coat. Then he extended his hand. Not a threat, a command. A soldier summoning a soldier. It's time. My legs moved by themselves. I didn't stand up. I was pulled up. Like invisible hands dragged me to my feet. I tried to scream. Nothing came out. The soldiers turned and marched out the front door. Not through it, through the walls, through the windows, through the very structure of the house. But when Hawthorne turned and walked out, the door opened for him, as if even the house remembered him. I followed. Not willingly. My body moved like a puppet, stiff, jerking, obeying an order that wasn't mine. The woods behind my house were dead silent. A thick fog rolled over the ground, glowing slightly, like it had light inside it. The soldiers marched ahead of me, boots cracking frozen leaves. Hawthorne walked beside me, close, too close. Every step he took felt like a nail hammered into the earth. We walked deeper into the forest, past the clearing, past the cross, past the nameplate bearing his name, until the trees thinned out, and the world changed. Droop Mountain battlefield. But not the way it looks today. Not the tourist park. Not the fenced-in area with signs. This was raw, bloody, alive. Like I had stepped back in time. The sky was red. Not sunset red, blood red, like smoke was staining the clouds. Gunshots cracked in the distance. Screams echoed between the trees. The ground was muddy with dark, thick blood. The smell. God, the smell. Burning flesh. Wet soil. Gunpowder. Death. Hundreds of soldiers marched across the field, some whole, some missing limbs, some transparent. But they weren't fighting. They were marching. Marching toward a hill covered in fog, the hill where Hawthorne died. He pointed to it. The march ended halfway. We never reached the ridge. We never completed the order. We never went home. He turned to me. His half-crushed jaw hung loosely as he spoke. Tonight, you lead us. My heart slammed so hard I thought it had burst. Lead them? Into what? For what? But Hawthorne raised his rifle and shouted, "Forward!" Suddenly, hundreds of dead soldiers behind me roared in unison, "Forward!" And they started running. And I started running with them. I couldn't stop. Couldn't slow down. Couldn't even control my legs. It wasn't a march anymore. It was a stampede of the dead. Straight into the ridge. Straight into the fog. Straight into whatever waited on the other side. The moment I stepped into the fog, time changed. The screams faded. The gunshots went silent. The world grew quiet. I could barely move my arms. The air felt heavy, thick, like a weight pressed on my chest. Hawthorne walked ahead of me, turning slowly. His one good eye looked almost human. Not kind, not gentle, but human. Someone must carry the memory. I swallowed. What memory? His voice cracked, more pain than anger. The memory of how we died. Forgotten. Buried without honor. Left in the mud like animals. His jaw trembled. Or maybe the shattered bone just shifted. You saw our trail. You felt our march. You carry our mark. You are the witness now. The fog swirled violently, almost alive. Shapes moved inside it. Twisted faces, open mouths, torn bodies. Soldiers who never made it to the ridge. One stepped out of the fog, his face missing, skull exposed, jaw dangling. He pointed at me, then another, then dozens, all pointing at me. Hawthorne nodded slowly. You finish the march. You finish what we could not. Or you stay with us. Forever. My breath caught in my throat. What do you want me to do? I whispered. Hawthorne leaned close, his dead breath brushing my ear. Tell the world we never left. Tell them we still walk. Tell them we still march. The fog exploded into white light, and everything went dark. I woke up in my backyard, covered in mud, covered in frost, covered in dried blood, not mine. The sun was rising, birds were chirping. The woods looked normal. My house looked normal. My clothes were torn. My legs were shaking. My arms burned. But the X mark on my collarbone, it was gone. Completely healed. No scar. Like it never existed. But something else was different. My boots. They weren't mine. They were old, worn, gray, covered in 160-year-old mud. Confederate boots. And on my porch were hundreds of boot prints leading away into the forest. Not toward my house. Away from it. Leaving. Finishing their march. This is what Daniel wrote in the last lines of his email. They're gone now. I think I helped them finish what they couldn't. But one soldier stayed behind. Hawthorne. He said he'll watch me. Not to hurt me, but to make sure I keep my promise. I thought that was the end, until I reached the final sentence. A sentence that still chills me. If he ever leaves, it means he found someone else to march with. And the email ended. No goodbye. No follow-up. Just that. 8. What happened to Daniel? I tried replying. No response. I emailed again. Nothing. Then I checked his social media. Last post, October 19th. No activity after that. I don't know if he's okay. I don't know if the soldier truly left him. I don't know if the march is really over. But last week, I heard something outside my house at 2:31 a.m. Heavy boots, slow, methodical, marching. Right past my window. I didn't look. I couldn't. But deep down, I knew the truth. The soldier found someone new. And maybe, just maybe, it wasn't Daniel. Maybe he's still looking.